Hey, this is Victus Videos. Stand by for a new soda review, as I do. Rowdy Roddy Piper's all out of bubblegum flavored soda. I hope you're ready, because this is going to be a good one.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Welcome in, folks. Victus Videos. We are doing Rowdy Roddy Piper's all out of bubblegum flavored soda. And to prove it, here we go, folks. Rowdy Roddy Piper's all out of bubblegum flavored soda. You know something? Rowdy Roddy Piper is perhaps one of my favorite professional wrestlers of all time. And you know why? Because you don't throw rocks at a gorilla with a machine gun, folks. I love Roddy Piper. He was the greatest heel in professional wrestling history, and Rocket Fizz has captured his personality. Yes. So here we go. Rowdy Roddy Piper's all out of bubblegum flavored soda. Here you see, it's got the plaid in there from Rowdy Roddy Piper's kilt. You've got Rowdy Roddy Piper on the bottle. Now this isn't a picture of They Live Rowdy Roddy Piper. This is of course much older in his life, right before he died, back in 2015. And of course they've emblazoned his name all over the bottle. Gotta love that. All out of bubblegum. This is from Rocket Fizz. You can pick up Rocket Fizz anywhere Rocket Fizz is sold, and I don't know all the locations, so don't ask me. We usually get Rocket Fizz when I'm down in Jean, Nevada. So here we go. We are going to pop the top off on this thing, and we are going to see what it's like. There we go. I must get the aroma. It's pink. Just like bubblegum is pink. Oh yeah, it smells like bubblegum, folks. It smells just like bubblegum. Rocket Fizz, the jelly belly of sodas. Let's see how it tastes. Now, I wouldn't drink bubblegum soda very often, but if that was your type of thing, this is definitely a soda to try. What it tastes like. I'm not sure how many of you are old enough to remember the old Topps baseball cards or any type of trading cards back in the 80s and early 90s. They used to stick a stick of gum in the trading cards that had powder on it, and a lot of times it was hard as a rock when you first started chewing it. That's what this tastes like. This tastes like the type of soda or the type of gum that they used to put in the trading cards. It's a very smooth taste. It doesn't hit you right off the bat. Rowdy Roddy Piper's all out of bubblegum flavored soda. Pretty good. Pretty damn good. I give that a 10. I actually give that a 10 out of 10. You know, I'm doing this soda review as a launch, and the reason I chose that soda is I am launching the Wrasslin Ruckus with me, Victus, today. Yes, we are going to hit the Wrasslin Ruckus with Victus. And I want to do something I've been talking about for years and years and years. What if the NWO didn't suck in the WWF? Stand by. We're going to see in a minute. Back in 1996, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash showed up in WCW, and it's kind of hectic because back then you didn't have the internet. So I should say not many people had the internet, so there weren't any dirt sheets to follow. There weren't any special bulletins going up saying, "Hey, look, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash are in the WCW." And Hall goes out to the ring, and he makes an announcement that another man's coming. And here comes Kevin Nash about a week later. And then at Bash at the Beach, Hulk Hogan turns on the Macho Man and all the little Hulkamaniacs. Yes, Hulkamania was finally dead. And something else came of it, and that was the New World Order. Now, the New World Order ranged in size. Let me tell you, just about every single member of WCW ended up in the NWO at least once. So it seemed. There are many different incarnations. You have the Wolfpack, you have the NWO 2000, and basically, the biggest complaint was the size of the NWO. So, we go up to 2001. What happened in 2001? Well, Vince McMahon bought WCW. Yes, he bought his competition. And when he bought WCW, he wanted to include everything WCW into his program. But there might have been an ulterior motive there, too. You see, Vince McMahon was furious at the wrestlers from the WCW because they nearly put him out of business, especially Hulk Hogan, Kevin Nash, and Scott Hall. Now, once the Invasion storyline was over in 2001, Vince McMahon threatened Ric Flair, who had come to the WWE, that he was going to inject the WWE with a lethal dose of poison known as the NWO. That was his threat. And No Way Out, ironically, in 2002, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, and Hulk Hogan walked into the WWF. Now, the problem with the NWO is in the WCW, the NWO wasn't scripted. There was no script writers writing for the NWO. Basically, the booker would tell the wrestlers what they wanted in a match and what they wanted to accomplish with the match, and then allow the wrestlers to do what they needed to do. So the wrestlers, basically, they would go out and do shoot interviews on the other wrestlers. They would make fun of them. They would pick on personality traits. Nothing was off limits, okay? Nothing was off limits. The problem, again, with the NWO was the size of the NWO. Well, in the WWE, you had Hulk Hogan, Kevin Nash, and Scott Hall. And going into WrestleMania, the NWO looked like it was going to be another NWO faction. And it didn't go that way. After WrestleMania, Scott Hall was fired. Kevin Nash got injured and was not able to compete in the ring. And Hulk Hogan turned babyface and teamed up with The Rock. of course, you also had, or when they did start adding members back to the NWO, you had the Big Show, who was an original member of the NWO. You had X-Pac, who was an original member of the NWO. Then you had Booker T. Booker T? Booker T? Booker T? You had Goldust, briefly. And then you had the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. Now, Shawn Michaels actually made sense because Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and Sean Waltman, also known as X-Pac, were all part of a group known as the Clique. And the Clique kind of ran things in the WWE before Scott Hall and Kevin Nash went to WCW. Needless to say, by the time of the brand split, the NWO wasn't anymore. It wasn't a thing. So let's rewind all the way back, rewind to No Way Out. Now, you can't script the NWO, like I said. And Vince McMahon, he likes to have his hands in everything. And that's not a bad thing. You don't want your wrestlers going off and doing their own, going into business for themselves. But at the same time, you want your wrestlers to be free to express themselves. This is how the magic works. And if you script something like the NWO, something that had never been scripted before, it's going to seem cheesy. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to eliminate all scripts for the NWO. They are allowed to shoot on anybody they want. They're allowed to act any way they want. Okay? We're going to forget that Scott Hall gets fired. That's after the plane ride from hell, and I'll touch on that in another video. We're going to keep the NWO intact. Now, from No Way Out, going into WrestleMania, there are several key moments. First of all, the assault on Stone Cold Steve Austin. Yes, the assault on Stone Cold Steve Austin, which got him, Scott Hall, as his opponent at WrestleMania. Then there were also several assaults on The Rock. NWO-style assaults, except for running a semi-truck into a ambulance that nobody was inside of. So, alright, you've got the NWO. They're going after Stone Cold Steve Austin, and they're going after The Rock. And that's fine. That's great. That is perfect for where you're going with the story. Where it falls flat is at WrestleMania. Now, at WrestleMania, the original finish for Stone Cold versus Scott Hall was going to go over Stone Cold. If you don't know what going over is, that means one wrestler wins the match, and the other guy loses the match. Scott Hall was supposed to go over Stone Cold. They changed it at the last minute, where Scott Hall got defeated by Stone Cold. Now, I would have booked that match. Here's how I would have booked that match. In the middle of the match, it looks like Stone Cold is going to hit the Stone Cold Stunner. He's going to put Scott Hall down. A win for the good guys. Instead, X-Pac hits the ring, and he hits Stone Cold with a super kick, and Kevin Nash and Scott Hall they start commencing to beating the hell out of Stone Cold. I mean, they beat him, and it's worse than just breaking a rock or breaking a gimmicked brick over his knee. They sideline him. I mean, he's not in WWE television for weeks. There's a reason for this, because in WCW, the vigilante was Sting. Sting was the big vigilante in WCW. You kind of need that with a group like the NWO. You need somebody that's going to be unbeatable. right? And Stone Cold is the perfect choice for that wrestler. Why? Because he did the same thing to DX and any other faction that tried to mess with him. So you've got Stone Cold, he's out for weeks. It goes into Hollywood Hulk Hogan versus The Rock. Now, The Rock is without a doubt the most entertaining man in sports entertainment. But you got to remember, the WWE is the house that Hulk Hogan built. Hulk Hogan built it from pretty much the ground up, with Vince McMahon running the business side of things. And this happened in the 80s after he beat the Iron Sheik for the WWF title. And he had a 4 or 5 year reign before he dropped it to the Giant. Well, Andre cheated. Let's be honest, Andre cheated. But he, at that point in time, was the longest reigning WWF champion. And when he walked into No Way Out, they cheered for him. Now, Hulk Hogan, Hollywood Hulk Hogan, is supposed to be a heel. And no matter what they did, what heinous thing Hulk Hogan did to The Rock, Hulk Hogan was getting over as a babyface. And this happened all the way up to WrestleMania. You can hear the cheers in the crowd for Hulk Hogan anytime he was in the ring. Remember, WWF, house that Hogan built. So we go into WrestleMania match. Hulk Hogan versus The Rock. The Rock gets over on Hulk Hogan. And this is the reason why. The Rock, after Backlash, The Rock goes off to make movies. I think that was the Scorpion King that he was making. He was going to be gone for quite some time, though. And with the cheers in the crowd at WrestleMania, the fans were only going to accept Hulk Hogan as a babyface. They weren't going to accept him as the Hollywood Hulk Hogan character. So The Rock goes over Hulk Hogan. The Rock leaves the ring. Here comes Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, and X-Pac. You see Hogan laying in the ring, and Kevin Nash cuts a scathing promo the Monday night after WrestleMania. I'm telling you, the Monday night after WrestleMania was a scathing promo. So he cuts that same scathing promo on Hulk Hogan in the middle of the ring, and they start kicking the crap out of Hulk Hogan. Next thing you know, the fans pop. They're up on their feet. Here comes The Rock. He's running down the ring. He gets in the ring. He looks at Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, and he rock bottoms Hulk Hogan, and then gives Hulk Hogan the people's elbow, and then cuts a scathing promo on the fans. You see, a couple weeks before, Hulk Hogan ran into an ambulance in a semi-truck, and The Rock was supposed to be out of it. Come to find out, it was Kevin Nash and Scott Hall that were talking to The Rock while he was in the hospital. They were the only ones to talk to The Rock while he was in the hospital. You see, they're sick of Hogan. They're completely sick of Hogan because Hogan always acts like the big dog. And every time the NWO failed, it was because of situations that Hulk Hogan got him in. Now, Vince McMahon has already said the NWO is going to be poison for the WWE, or F at the time. Now, what would be better than The Rock turning heel at that point? Because they were booing him at WrestleMania. They even booed him at Backlash. And when he came back, he did a heel turn anyway, cutting some scathing promos on Hulk Hogan. Like, what's she gonna do? Blah, 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 blah. You know. So The Rock was a perfect way to turn heel, because now you don't have Hollywood Hogan, you have Hollywood Rock here. And Hollywood Rock would have made it interesting. Hollywood Rock would have made the NWO interesting and relevant. Now, let's forget that Scott Hall gets fired. All right. We're going to keep Scott Hall in the NWO, in the WWE, just for the purposes of this video. Well, their next targets are Chris Jericho and The Undertaker. And yes, they do a number on The Undertaker. They kick the crap out of The Undertaker. You know, an assault on The Undertaker like no other assault. And who do they have helping out? Well, you've got X-Pac. You got to bring the Big Show in, because he's an original member of the NWO. And this sets up The Rock versus Undertaker in some way, shape, or form. Of course, if you want to, you can bring Booker T in. Oh, God. Booker T hated the NWO. Why would he join the NWO and the WWE? It made no sense. But if you're going to have a group, you got to have the right people at that point in time. Booker T filled a spot. Now, you don't want to grow the NWO too big. You've got The Rock. You've got Hulk Hogan, or Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, X-Pac, The Big Show, and Booker T. Booker T until Booker T loses a match that he shouldn't lose. We'll pick whoever. They kick him out. Introducing the new member of the NWO, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. Yes, the HBK joins the NWO. Just like it was originally written. We haven't changed that much. And the NWO is running roughshod all over the place. Now, they're originally picked to be on Raw. But this is the NWO. They show up on SmackDown anyway. And that was during the first brand split. Somebody comes back. Alright. Now, before the NWO showed up, Triple H and Stone Cold Steve Austin were having a match between Chris Jericho and Chris Benoit. And he tore his quad. And he was out of the ring for a while. I don't remember when he came back, but he was out of the ring for a while. And when he came back, they made a big to-do. They had Kevin Nash and Shawn Michaels meet Triple H. They give him a big hug. Obviously, they're part of the Clique. Everybody remembers who the Clique were. And, you know, they kind of make a promise to Triple H, hey, yeah, you know. Meanwhile, Austin's doing his thing, and The Undertaker's trying to get revenge, and nobody can get over on the NWO. You make the NWO unbeatable at this point. Kevin Nash tears his quad. He's out for a while. So you're going to have to get someone to replace Kevin Nash just for the time being. He can show up on TV, you know, on crutches or whatever. He can show up, but he's not doing any wrestling at all. You're going into SummerSlam. You need some big matches. You book HBK versus Triple H with a special guest referee. Pick anybody. Ric Flair, anybody. Toward the middle of the match, okay, better yet, you got Triple H versus HBK. The special guest referee is Kevin Nash, because Kevin Nash can't wrestle. But I'm digging too deep into this one. No, you've got HBK versus Triple H. At the end, when the NWO comes to run in to help HBK, both HBK and Triple H start beating the hell out of the NWO. Why is that? Well, there was another big group during the NWO days, and that was Degeneration X. Right? Degeneration X reforms the night of SummerSlam. You could even do it this way. You have The Rock versus Triple H at SummerSlam. You have somebody versus Triple H at SummerSlam. And HBK turncoats. You'll have a match between X-Pac and somebody. And X-Pac goes to DX. Now the NWO has been weakened a little bit. You got your big guy out. Scott Hall is still there. The Big Show's still there. X-Pac, you're doing pretty bad at this point. Now, The Rock's off making movies. You're doing pretty bad at this point. You are doing absolutely awful at this point as the NWO. But they rebuild their numbers. And for Survivor Series, about the time when The Rock comes back, you have The Rock versus Hogan. Don't make a repeat Rock versus Hogan at WrestleMania. You have The Rock versus Hogan for the WWF title. Teams of 5 strive to survive. Old style SummerSlam match. Degeneration X. Hall. Nash. Damn. Big Show. And whoever else their fifth member is, versus Triple H, Shawn Michaels, X-Pac, Road Dogg, whoever. Toward the end of that match, toward the end of your teams of 5 striving to survive, this is your big payoff. The members of the Clique, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and X-Pac, turn on everybody. They turn on everybody. And the Clique takes over for the NWO and DX. Now, that's just my wish, okay? That was just my wish. Some people might think that this is stupid. Some people might think it's great. But I think there was a whole lot more they could have done with the NWO. They could have probably at least gotten a year out of the NWO. They probably could have gotten a year out of the NWO. But they didn't handle business right. They didn't handle business right. And because they didn't handle business right, the NWO died. It died badly. It died worse than the WCW did under Vince McMahon. Now, I don't claim to be a booker. I don't claim to be any part of the wrestling industry. I'm an NWO mark, meaning I'm an NWO fan. I'm a bit of a smart mark because I do know a little bit about what goes on beyond the ring. What you don't see. But, the NWO still sells the most t-shirts. The NWO is still mentioned every once in a while. And when they get mentioned, they pop. They're still popular. And they can still be relevant. You could bring the NWO back with different members as long as you have at least one member there to turn the wheel. And with Kevin Nash's new contract with the WWE, I'm hoping that's what we're going to get. I'm hoping that we get an NWO that we should have gotten in 2002. I'm Victus, and this is the Wrasslin Ruckus. And, you know, some of these programs, I'm going to do a little bit better with production. This was rushed to an extent because I wanted to put out some content this week, especially with Thanksgiving yesterday. And here we go. This is it. This is the Wrasslin Ruckus. If you've got any comments, please leave them there. Make them constructive comments, because I don't listen to trolls, okay? My original entrance to Victus video was ladies, gentlemen, and trolls. Well, I don't use that anymore because, trolls, I ignore them. They're going to be negative no matter what you do. But if you like the content, tell me what more you want to see. The next Wrasslin Ruckus will be out in December sometime. I'm going to think maybe Christmas. I'm still working on a story idea, and I'm still working OCRP. I'm going to be doing another soda review here soon. And, you know, happy Thanksgiving and happy holidays. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. That's where we're at. That's where we're at. God dang, this year's gone by quick. By the way, none of these pictures and none of the video in this video are my property. They are property of the WWF or WWE and their prospective owners, and they are used under the Fair Use Act. I'm not getting paid for this, folks. This is completely free, and I hope the YouTube algorithms pick that up. Have a good day, folks. And, you know, I got a little saying that I say to everybody. May your dreams bring you fortune, and may love make you wealthy. Good night.